not everybody agrees that the music industry is reinventing itself. David Lowery doesn't look like one, but he's a big star. He's the lead singer in Cracker and Camper Beethoven. And David believes that the old music industry 1.0, with music labels and limousines and all the things that everyone knew and seems to despise, was actually a better deal for musicians than today's music industry 2.0, with self-promoting marketing platforms on Twitter and Facebook. So David, welcome to TechCrunch TV.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Now you're a star, but you're also a renegade, David. What's going on here?
Well, you sort of, I mean, what you explained is essentially a bit of hyperbole that I created.
I'm not.
No, but I did
ever deals in hyperbole. So.
No, yes, but I understand that. And what I did is we've had a long discussion over the last 12 years about how the digital, the new digital music distribution model works or doesn't work.
And that is indeed not an exaggeration. We've all been talking about this the last 12 years. Right?
Yeah, and just the last few years, I was always a believer that with disintermediation, essentially artists would get a greater share of revenue. And I was a strong proponent of like giving away stuff free on your website, streaming, making videos, putting them on YouTube, even when they weren't singles. I was an independent record label operator and stuff like that. But the last few years, I've been waiting for that extra revenue to show up in artists' pockets. And I think when you look at aggregately at the entire music business, the new digital distribution model, what it comes out to is actually artists get less. And I wasn't looking for that, but it's just what I've concluded after the last few years, wondering where that money was, where it was going. And I can point to several things. First of all, digital file sharing. We all know that, piracy. It's almost an old story.
And you're not going to defend that?
I'm not going to defend digital piracy, well, I think everybody has. I mean, if people want to give it away, they can give it away. But you don't. Why wouldn't you just give it away off your own website instead of off of somebody else's website and make somebody else rich?
David, we're in San Francisco, and about 50 miles north, there's a guy called Tim O'Reilly who runs OReilly Media, and Tim very famously has said, and specifically said, I think a couple of weeks ago, that he thinks from a creative's point of view, piracy is a good thing, because the more people steal, the more they buy.
I would like to see his data on that, because I actually believed that at one time, but I think the data is opposite, and I have data.
Good.
Okay.
Data man, tell us more.
Okay, well, what it is just, I started looking at the records of two studio complexes.
Which ones?
One in Richmond, Virginia, and one in Athens, Georgia, and they have records that go back about 20 years. And just browsing the data, it looks like artists are spending a lot less on recordings, on actually making their recordings. If artists were getting more per artist, that you would see that expressed there, right? The other thing is just more anecdotally, when you talk to people, like for instance, my wife is a concert promoter, and I've just been informally polling people. It's like, did you make enough money off of selling your last recording to pay for the recording expenses? And it's 100% no right now. So where is the money going? And here's where the money's going, okay? One, basically the digital distribution system has created very large, efficient digital distributors, iTunes and Amazon. They don't deal in physical products and stuff like that, but they actually take 30% of gross. Never before in the history of music business has anybody ever taken 30% of gross and not funded the content creation, not supplied capital or done some sort of risk aggregation or risk management. Never before have we had that. And I think that's one of the problems. The second problem is that streaming media actually does cannibalize sales. Now look, I'm not saying that we should go back to the old world. I'm just pointing out that content creators across the board, whether it's photography, music, or arts, it looks like they're getting the shaft. And I think if we start now and we start to address this and figure that out, it's going to be better for all of us. I think everybody in the tech music space, one of the things is they need artists to actually have money. They need managers actually to have money, and they need record labels to actually have money to buy their services and products. And so that's what I'm seeing. That's where I started out.
David, sounds like there's a book there.
Could be a book, yes.
How the Internet's killing our culture.
Well, I don't know if it's killing our culture, but it is making it a lot harder to make money from producing, like, for instance, music and film and photography and stuff like that, that normally you would make more money doing it.
So let's accept your premise is right. Let's say that you are correct.
Well, nobody else has any data. I mean, I'd love to be wrong, but nobody can show me the data.
Well, let's say you're right and your data is correct, and it reveals a fundamental truth, that the musical artist was better off under the old regime than in this revolutionary age. What has to happen to improve things? What would you like to see change?
Okay. I think that streaming has to pay a higher rate.
You mean like Amazon
one of the things,
Amazon
that's
and
where
Apple
it's going.
Need to give more back to the artist?
I think, well, no, like actual streaming, because I think a lot of music people aren't going to own a lot of music.
You mean on the Spotify business
model?
Yeah,
the Spotify and stuff like that. I mean, I didn't come up with this. I just read this. I don't know if it's actually true. It's probably about true that you would have to have like well over 1 million spins a week to earn minimum wage on Spotify.
What's minimum wage?
If minimum wage, like making $7 an hour, whatever it is in California or whatever like that. If you would have to have like the equivalent of working a 40-hour week at minimum wage, you would have to have millions of spins on Spotify.
1 million or several million?
Over 1 million. I didn't see the number. I thought I saw something that like that $1.5 million was $160. Don't quote me on that, but I know it's really low. It doesn't. You'd have to spend millions of times to make a minimum wage. Okay, that was just. But I know it's. I mean, it's literally like, I know Pandora is somewhere around 0.0021 cents per spin.
But if we had someone from Spotify or Pandora here, they might argue that they can't afford to pay anymore.
I know. Well, then it's a bad business model. It's not my fault.
So what has to change?
As a content creator, why can't I just put the music on my own website? Why can't we all artists just put our music on our own websites? And like, that's what we do. I just completely stream from our website, any of our songs. But we ask people to just give us your email address. Seems a fair deal. And then actually I own my own audience, and I can, I can do with those what I want.
But you have to moonlight as a professor at the University of Georgia, right?
Well, that's true, but that's partly my choice. But yes.
I hope you're earning more than minimum wage there. Even
I
in
do
the
earn
Deep
more
South.
than minimum wage there. Yes, it's a nice university.
So you've given up on the industry, David, have you?
No, I still play, but no, it's difficult. I mean, it's really difficult. I mean, I have platinum records. I have platinum records as producer. I had a studio complex. I've just been involved in the business for a long time, but what I'm actually doing over at University of Georgia is essentially kind of becoming a rock economist over there. I'm teaching in the music business program, and I'm looking at things like this.
I love the idea of a rock economist.
Okay.
And if it does die, what will we most lose?
What if the music industry dies? Well, it'll never die, because everybody will do it just like I will just do it. I can't help it. I wake up in the morning, if I want to write a song and record a song, I do it. But I think it's just fair. It's kind of unfair. It's a point of fairness. If we can create giant companies and millionaires like, Kim.com at Mega Upload or something like that off of distributing music, why can't the artist share in it? Why does the artist have to only make, say, minimum wage if they're getting millions of spins from streaming?
And Facebook?
I mean, so what's that?
And what about Facebook and its $100 billion IPO? Is that connected with the crisis of the rock industry too?
I don't really know, but a good part of what people share on Facebook are, for instance, YouTube videos. We are part of the content that makes people go on the web. We are part of the content that makes people want to have a high-speed internet connection. We are part of the reason that the web industry exists. And I think to just say, hey, well, you'll be famous. You'll get 64 million views on YouTube or something like that, and you'll be famous. Maybe you'll get a reality television show. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair enough. And I'm somebody who came from the tech, a free side of things, and I've just changed my mind.
Well, David Lowery, rock star and rock economist, I want to thank you so much for appearing on TechCrunch TV.
No problem, and thank you.